Hey guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws. I got an OEM 440 into the shop that I had to do some work on. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then I got one of the clones that I built next to it. And I figured I'd give them both a run together and a look at. Granted, that's a working saw, and it's a really nice running saw, actually. Came in for a little problem. And I got a fresh build here. So we got one that's broken in, one that's not broken in, but I still think it's a halfway even test running the two of them next to each other, just to give you an idea. But I figured I'd even video a little bit and you kind of see, you know, the difference. I mean, granted, one's new and clean and not scratched up. Because I get people who do ask, are these exactly the same as an OEM saw? Well, they're damn close. Minor differences. The plastics I think are a little more orange. I don't think that's just fading over time. Little things. Maybe the plastics are a 10,000ths thinner. I like that the OEM has the elasto start on it. That makes it nice to pull start that. I think that the pull start handle, you know, the recoil handle's a lot nicer on that. I think the magnesium on that recoil might be a little heavier on the steel. I looked at them both. I really can't tell. I think that the caps on the OEM saw, it might be because that's broken in and I haven't had a brand new 440 in my hands to see. But I think, you know, the caps spin a little bit easier. I still hate the flippy caps, so that really doesn't change anything. They feel the same. What I will tell you is, this 44 that I built here doesn't have the upgraded handle on it, which I like much better because I actually think that the upgraded highway handle feels better than the OEM handle. It's about the same weight in metal, but just the knurling on the cover on it I like better on the aftermarket one, to be honest with you. But other than that, just to give you a quick look, and I'll tell you what the story about these saws here. Oh, that has a West Coast style clutch cover on it. So if you're looking at the clutch cover and saying, wow, that looks huge, well, that's why. I kind of like them too. I'm going to pause you and talk to you for a minute. Okay, guys, so this OEM 440 came into the shop. It was having a running issue, and it works as a tree service saw. And the fellow who brought it in knows all anybody ever needs to know about tuning a saw. He says when he starts it, it doesn't seem quite right. So I took it and I ran it, and I noticed it was lean. Didn't seem to be crazy lean to me, but it seemed like, we're running a little thin here on fuel. So I'm thinking, well, he knows all about tuning, so I didn't even go any further with it. I said, let me take a look. And I looked in the fuel tank, and there's a ton of junk in the fuel tank. And I'm like, carb very likely is, the screen inside the carb's plugged up. That's what it seems like to me. So I said, well, maybe I better pressure test this too, because maybe there's a problem. Pressure test is all passes pressure test. Go to look at the carb now, which I should have did right off and I didn't. And the lows half a turn out and the highs turned all the way in. Like all the way in, like no turns out. Well, I guess that's why it's screaming lean, and how it wasn't screaming leaner than it was, I don't know. And I know what probably happened. You get busy on a job, you got trees coming down, branches being cut up, you got your groundies working a chipper, doing this, that, and the other thing, and the saw's not quite right, and you throw a screwdriver in it, and you get it interrupted, and you're not paying attention, you come back to it, and you're not looking at what you're doing, and you got it set all wrong. I think it's a testament. You guys know I love these 440s. I think it's one of the best saws ever made. It's light, it's powerful. I'm sure there's some newer stuff out there that's just absolutely amazing, but for a wonderful saw that, to be honest with you, I think it stands with any of the new saws. They're great saws. So anyhow, I'm guessing he got distracted and just screwed the pooch on turning screws, and it happens. And then all of a sudden he goes to his next job, maybe picks it up, it's not running right, doesn't think about, hey, I was jacking with this, gets right to work, this ain't right, let me just drop it off. So somebody could say they put a bunch of work into it, rebuilding the carb, throwing seals on. No, I didn't do anything for it. Take your saw. It was just, you screwed the, as far as I know, we're going to get some run time on it now, but I ran it a little bit just before to test it, and it seemed okay to me. I tuned it where I thought it should be, made a couple cuts, and it seemed okay. So I'm going to run it, make a couple cuts with that saw, and then I'm going to make a couple cuts with the clone saw just to compare it. Is it a fair comparison? No, there's some differences, broken in, not broken in, whatever you want to say. But I guess the video will see what they both look like together. One thing I will tell you is that saw runs, that OEM saw runs really good. You got to go away. Get going, get. You're being a pain in the butt now. Move it. That's not getting. Nobody likes you. They're not here to see this. A dirty, rolling in the dirt dog. Anyhow, what I was going to say is that the exhaust on that OEM saw has the tiniest little hole in it. I mean, there's. I think you could do a lot for that saw by opening up that exhaust. Maybe doing something on the intake. I think that saw runs beautifully considering it, but it's noticeably quieter. Having that exhaust plugged up makes that saw so quiet, it almost makes me want to plug up all the exhausting saws and not open them up and get them quiet and screw the performance, because quiet's kind of nice. So you're going to hear a difference with that. It's a smooth running saw. I'll stop talking, I'll boot the dog, and I'll get to running some saws. That way we can see. What the heck? You don't want to hear me talk much more. Let me pause this. All right, I was running this OE saw just a couple minutes ago, so we'll see if she'll start right back up for me. I'll pause this and I'll swap out this bar and chain. I'll give you the cold start on this clone. I'll warm it up real quick, then I'll get you back. Okay guys, I got that saw warmed up. I'm just going to restart her and make a couple cuts. guys, they're both super nice saws. To me, I don't know what it looks like on video. We'll have to see. To me, it looks like they cut at about the same speed. There should both be right at about 13,000, 12.8 to 13,000. You guys know I tune saws down. Let the final user tune them up a little bit more. Let them break them in for a little while first. You know my feelings on that. But what I will tell you is the clone saw's loud. Obviously, it has work done to it. The OEM's a lot quieter. Feels a little smoother to me. And that might just be the quiet translating into feeling smooth. It might also be that nicer handlebar on the OEM saw. Next week, I'll be getting the highway heavy duty handles back in. So if that saw is by chance still here, I'll swap out the handle most likely. But what I will tell you, and I don't know if it comes across on video, is that the clone saw has a lot more torque. It pulls me into the cut a lot harder. It's not spinning the chain faster, but I think it would take a hell of a lot more to bog that down, and you could just feel the pull on it, which I think that brutality in it makes it feel not as smooth as the OEM saw. I don't know, those are my two quick things. Oh, the other thing is I noticed that the OEM saw has a little metal tank saver on the bottom that I like pretty well. Just, you know what, I could actually show you guys that. I'll grab you and show you what I mean. And I know that there's covers I could get for the saws, for the bottoms and all that, and I actually have a couple around. But you see, I like that corner here. I like that. And we don't have it here. No tank saver. So I kind of really like that on that, as opposed to that. Other than that, I guess you can see the bottoms of the saws. And I don't know, for half the price, I think that the clones hold their own pretty darn well. Here, I'll get you back in the thing. I know, I probably should have paused you and all that stuff. Whatever. I'm no great video guy. Anyhow, just to give you guys a little bit of a look, and maybe I should try to tune the two of them to the exact same RPM, but to me, any two saws, I don't care if it's the smallest saw and the biggest saw in the world, if you have them running the same sprocket in the same RPM and it's turning the chain at the exact same speed and you have the same chains, they have to cut equally as fast because it's the way the chain's spinning. So somebody who tells you different, I don't care if you have a 660 versus a trim saw with an appropriate size bar on either of them, spinning at the same speed, you know, barring cutter size on some small micro chain versus bigger 3/8 or 404 cutters, but barring that, they should cut at the same speed. So I don't know what else to tell you. We went over a lot in this video and it's a long video. Anyhow, just thought it'd be fun to mess with the OEM saw and a clone saw together. True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws. Thanks for watching. Sorry about all the camera shaking and moving around.